So I want to give you guys 5 kind of undercover ways that I use ceramic coatings on a daily basis in my detailing business. And this is going to save you guys a lot of money and time. So when I was first getting into applying ceramic coatings, which is now really all I do in my business, I was super scared because I didn't know how to do paint correction. I wasn't sure how to apply a coating and I didn't want to screw something up. And it took a mentor taking me by the hand step by step through the whole process for me to really feel confident. And so before I get into the video, I just want to make sure you guys know I actually have a free 6-part video series available for you in the YouTube description box below if you're interested. I call it the Ceramic Coating Quick Start. I give you all the hands-on info you need, all the products and tools you need on a budget, and all of the business information you need to close your first customer and make your first several $100s with ceramic coatings. It's available in the YouTube description box below. Grab that before we keep going. Really all it is just like I had a mentor to walk you through what you need. Now the coating I'm highlighting in this video is the Armor Shield ceramic coating from Avalon King. And the reason why I'm highlighting this coating is not because this is the coating I reach for necessarily when I'm trying to get some 5-year protection on a vehicle, but it is a coating that I take with me no matter where I go for 5 main reasons. Number 1, the amount of off-label uses this has is pretty unbelievable. So I'll start with leather seats on the interior. Oftentimes when I'm dealing with a maintenance customer that I'm gonna see on a regular basis, I will maybe 1 in every 3 times actually put this coating on the leather because there's no need for me to spend $60 on a separate leather coating when this is going to give some much longer term protection than something like Meguiar's X-Wax or even a particular leather protectant would. So I love this on leather and I also love it on regular interior door panels, right? Interior door panels, whether they're black or they're tan, this is going to be an awesome interior protection. It wipes on, leaves a slightly glossy finish, slightly shiny finish, and it gives a very long-term protection to that interior. So I can actually replace a lot of the other products that I would use for interior multi-purpose dressings. It's not oily, it's not slick to the touch, it just looks really good, a slight sheen, and it applies really easily. Now the second area I want to highlight is the black trim on different areas of the car. And the reason I'm highlighting this is because I would call this coating kind of like a fix-all for black trim. And what I mean by that is oftentimes people will get their car detailed, but they're not going to pay for a black trim restoration, right? Because it's kind of an add-on service. Well, in those situations, oftentimes the detail could be done right, but it looks really bad because the black trim is faded or cracked or doesn't have a uniform appearance. And the reason I call this coating a fix-all is because ceramic coatings like this can be applied to those parts of the car and they create this uniform dark appearance that is going to restore for a certain amount of time because it's obviously ceramic protection, but it just ties together the entire detail because if you don't address the black trim, then you're gonna have some problems. And so this applies super easily. I can just kind of dump it on my towel and wipe it on and almost walk away, but I like to level it out a little bit with my towel just because, but in a lot of ways it does kind of self-level on porous trim. And because of that, I can spend very little time on this, but I just create this overall uniform appearance of the detail where I don't have one part that wasn't restored, and so it makes the whole thing kind of come down in terms of visual appeal. Now, I just want to thank Avalon King for sponsoring this video. You can actually get this kit in a buy one, get one free deal right now. All of the instructions and information that you need to know in order to access this deal will be available in the YouTube description box below. So navigate down there if you're interested in getting your hands on this coating. Like I said, first 100 customers get a buy one, get one free deal here. Check out the YouTube description box for the details. Now, the third main area I want to highlight are the wheels and the windows. Often detailers get caught up because they're trying to find wheel-specific or window-specific ceramic coatings, and they get really confused. And a lot of times when you're putting a coating on something like a wheel or on a window, detailers get kind of nervous because the directions on the coating will say, hey, only use this on glass. Don't get it on the black trim, don't get it on rubber, don't get it on the paint. And it's kind of hard to not get it on any of those areas when you're applying it to a window. That's why I love coatings like this in those scenarios, because I can overlap on the black trim or the rubber seal, or I can accidentally get it on the paint and it doesn't matter because it's kind of this all-in-one coating. Those two areas are specifically served well by a coating like this. Like I said, it's not the longest lasting coating on things like wheels because those areas get really lambasted by brake dust and cleaners. But on areas that get far less dirty over time, like windows, this is actually a fantastic coating for a much longer term protection. Now, the second to last area that I want to highlight here is what I would call miscellaneous areas. And if you're a pro detailer, you should seriously listen to this, okay? So I want to point out a couple different areas. Number 1, black plastic trim around side view mirrors. Number 2, plastic trim that separates windows that kind of lines the A and B pillars of a vehicle. And number 3, the rubber that kind of lines a window that's kind of tucked down in there where the window actually slots into the door. Those areas over time get destroyed by the sun and they get baked until they look scaly, they start to peel, and you have to replace them entirely. Oftentimes detailers have no idea what kind of product to reach for to protect those areas, and at best you might be able to use something like Meguiar's Synthetic Express Spray Wax, but it doesn't last very long. I love pulling out a product like this in order to address those areas, because this is such a user-friendly ceramic coating, I don't necessarily have to remove all of the coating in order to get the protection and the visual effect. The reason why that matters is because when you are dealing with ceramic coatings in general, particularly pro-grade ceramic coatings, you have to make sure that the removal process is extremely intense and extremely specific, otherwise you're gonna get streaks and all that sort of stuff. Now, I understand that when you come down on some of that stuff, you sacrifice some of the longer term durability, which is why pro coatings are really important still, but in areas like this where you're never gonna be able to get all of the coating out because it's a really tight area and it's unique and it's specific and you gotta kind of shove product down there, this is a perfect coating for that, because you don't have to necessarily remove all the residue. You're not gonna get some sort of crazy, awful visual appeal. It's gonna kind of self-level in those tight areas, and it protects those areas that you're really not sure what to reach for to protect them with. And the last area that I wanna highlight is probably what you guys all assume, which is the painted areas of a car, or of course any plastic areas like the headlights, the front chrome grills, those areas. This is probably the most user-friendly beginner coating. It's not something that is going to give you the longest durability out of any coating in the world, but I always suggest this coating for any beginner to get their feet wet, because it's basically impossible to mess up. And the risk-free nature of this product is actually what makes me use this product for beginners in some of our private programs, apart from the YouTube videos entirely, because if you've never applied a coating, or if you're unsure or you're kind of scared, there really is no better product to choose, because it allows you to see what tacking up looks like, what the application looks like, what the removal process is like, get a feel for it, and you actually don't damage anything. So guys, like I said, to check out the deal going on right now for the first 100 customers, you can check out that in the YouTube description box below. My free 6-part video series with all the PDFs you need to get started and to make your first few $100s as a ceramic coating installer is available in the same exact place below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. And from Luke here at Wilson Auto Detailing, keep working hard, and I'll see you in the next video.